Red Dead Redemption 2 is a first-person story-driven adventurous open-world game created and published by Rockstar Games in 2018 on consoles and in 2019 on PCs. It is like GTA in the Wild West of the US in 1899. Anyways, without any more of these introductory words, let's jump right into the review. Right from the start, I would love to take a look at the story of Red Dead. It is amazing and great experience. When I played Red Dead, I felt like I was reading some kind of novel with complex storylines which are not only interesting but also greatly written. Characters have their meaning in the story and everyone has some story behind himself. I don't believe I have met some character who was bland and wasn't interesting in some way or didn't have some kind of backstory behind him. But the story is not flawless as might seem from my opinion. It is great, but it has some minor scratches on it. Story is divided into 8 parts, 6 main chapters and 2 epilogues. Main chapter story is great, but the story in the epilogue and especially ending was a little bit disappointing for me. It was predictable and it was not as great as the main game was. But when I finished it, I looked at the story of Red Dead Redemption from 2010 and I have immediately understood why it was made the way it was made. But it doesn't change the fact that it was disappointing for me a little bit. So, the story begins with a gang who is escaping from a city called Blackwater after a robbery which ended up horribly. They are trying to lie low and wait for the time they can again appear on public without fear of being killed by police. They are hiding in the snowy mountains. The leader of this gang is called Dutch van der Linde and he has 2 right hands, Hosea Matthews and Arthur Morgan. Dutch is charismatic and confident leader who has great philosophy and everyone in the gang follows him because he saved them in some way. Hosea is not only Dutch's right hand but also his close friend and his communicative skills are wonderful. Like developers say, he can talk his way into or out of just about anything. The third one is Arthur Morgan, who is loyal and extremely skilled gunslinger. His gun skills are unmeasurable. There are also other members of the gang, but I'm not going to talk more about Dutch's gang because this video will have 10 hours. So, the main character is Arthur and the story follows not only his private life but also the life of the entire gang. It is brutally well written and I fell in love with the story. Only shame is the ending of epilogues. I understand why it happened the way it happened, but I was slightly disappointed. I'm not going to continue, go and try Red Dead Redemption for yourself. There are so many quests in Red Dead Redemption 2, varying from main quest, a side quest to random encounters, which you may find during traveling the enormous world of Red Dead 2. By many quests, I mean more than 100 main missions. By this huge amount of quests, one may say that it must be repetitive as hell, but in fact it is not true. These quests are strongly connected with the story, so I was quite eager to understand what is awaiting me after quests. On the other hand, there are some weaker spots where I was playing just because I wanted to make progress and move on to the more interesting parts, but this wasn't common. Most of the quests are great and varied and you won't feel that they are repetitive or bad. Gameplay in Red Dead is great. I have never played a game with so many details as Red Dead offers. Everything is great and I caught myself that sometimes I just set my bar too high because of these details. I was expecting even smaller details and some of them were really in-game. But aside from my expectations, there are so many details. It can be clearly seen that Rockstar had put so much time in it. For example, when you kill an animal and put it on shoulder or stow it on horse, there will be blood under it. Or just taking care of a horse is full of many details in general. When I noticed these tiny details, I stayed shocked and I couldn't believe my eyes. What is more, there are not only these details, but the number of details here is enormous and I am sure that I have missed so many more of them. But this is gameplay side of reviews, so let's talk about the more interesting side of the gameplay, which is combat. So, combat in Red Dead is nice. There are plenty of guns, ranging from pistols / revolvers to repeaters or rifles. I have not been using all the guns in game. I found those which suited me the best and stick to them. But all the guns are useful and well made. They feel well and shooting is quite realistic. Sometimes when I fought some fellers, I felt like superhero mostly thanks to the special ability called Deadeye. When it is activated, time slows down and it is much easier to aim for a head. This especially applies to gunshots on horses, which can be really chaotic sometimes, but is not bad or disturbing during playthrough. If you want to kill enemies differently, there are also other methods like killing using throwables, like throwing knives, dynamites or others. All these methods are highly effective and it is possible to use them not only in the badass approach when all enemies are eradicated and Arthur killed them face to face, but also in the quiet approach. I really enjoyed using these weapons because it felt great and they were really useful. But when throwing dynamites, be careful where you throw them, because you can kill yourself. Or if you kill some animals like sheep, horses or cows with them, your honor level will decrease. Speaking of honor, Honor is another interesting part of Red Dead. The level of honor changes some dialogues, prices of items and other stuff, but most importantly, it changes the ending of the main game. It is a massive change, but it is here. If you think that I have spoken too much about the gameplay, I need to tell you that Red Dead Redemption 2 is an extremely complex game. I have not talked about using medicine, eating, leveling up your gang's camp, doing side activities like fishing, hunting and others. I could be talking about stuff which is possible to do in Red Dead for ages, but let's rather move on the next part of the review because both of us, me and you who are watching this video, will be old when I finish talking about gameplay. Gameworld of Red Dead is huge. I don't mean this huge, I mean this huge. And it's so huge that I haven't been able to find
an Englishman called Gavin.
Anyway, the first question which may popped up in your head may be, if it is that big, isn't it just an empty soulless world used just for marketing campaign? No, it is not like that. World of Red Dead is vibrant, filled with various biomes and locations, but more about it in next chapters of the review. Gameworld is not boring either. There are many random encounters which you may experience during your playthrough. I was surprised how many different encounters the Rockstar Games come up with. It is great. Not only once happened to me that when I wanted to go just on the main story, I ended up doing 5 random encounters instead. These encounters are also interesting and varied, ranging from shooting duel with some shooting maestro to helping some folk in need. This help may include giving medicine to people from suffering from poison to saving NPC from lawmen. Not only there are so many of these encounters, but when you do them, they may also reward you by leveling up your honor level, or would I stayed amazed what happened to me, it may get you some stuff free. Let me explain. Once I helped some guy in need and he gave me robbery tip. This is great gameplay enhancement in my opinion. Not only it will encourage players to help NPCs, but also it is keeping the world alive. I mentioned earlier that the world of Red Dead is extremely complex and you may wonder if it is possible to use fast travel in this game. Yes, it is, but it was quite confusing for me at first because I had no idea how to use it. Let me help you avoid this misunderstanding because at the start I thought it is not possible to use fast travel. If you want to fast travel, you need to level up your camp enough through Ledger. It is basically a book filled with upgrades for the camp which you can buy and boost overall happiness and amenities of the camp. Let's go back to the fast travel. When you unlock it, it is possible to fast travel from Arthur's wagon, or if you are in the wilderness, you need to set up a camp on your own and you fast travel there. But it is simple, it only takes a few seconds to set up a camp. In this camp you can craft ammo, guns, or cook your meal to boost its regeneration effect. Now you know something about gameplay, game world and also story. But I haven't mentioned how the Red Dead looks. This chapter will be really quick. The audio aspect of the Red Dead Redemption is awesome. I haven't noticed anything bad or disturbing. What I need to point out is the ability of the game to filter audio and give you only the required one. For example, while walking through a busy street, it is easy to hear only one specific dialogue which is required. It is filtering the audio and thus helping players to understand what needs to be understood. Red Dead Redemption 2 is not a hard game in general and it is willing to help players in need. For example, if one mission is hard for you, the game offers a skip checkpoint and you will move directly to the next checkpoint. If I should say something about the graphical aspect, I would say the game is wonderful. World looks great, I have enjoyed my every moment in it. Optimization is also great, I haven't noticed any FPS drops or lags. It is optimized really well. In case of bugs, my verdict remains same. I haven't experienced almost any. Once my horse just yeeted for 100 meters, but it was nothing bad. My horse was extremely strong boy and he didn't even hesitate and just hold his ground without dying. So this is all to the functional side of the game, and now let's summarize this review a little. So, is Red Dead Redemption 2 one of the best games in the world? For me, the answer is definitely yes. After I had finished the entire playthrough, I immediately ran to YouTube to watch some Red Dead Redemption 2 content. I am eager to learn more not only about the story itself, but also about some theories or details which I have missed during my playthrough. If you have not played Red Dead Redemption 2, or you are hesitating and not sure whether to buy it or not, just buy it and enjoy the story of Dutch Wanderling's gang and Arthur Morgan yourself. Gameplay is great, and I can also say this about graphics, game world, story, and so on. It is definitely worth buying and playing. You will not regret. If yes, you can dislike this video and write a comment full of hatred. I will not be mad. Anyways, I have spent almost 71 hours in the game and I have enjoyed every single moment of it without regrets. Red Dead easily gets 10 out of 10. So now, saddle up cowboy and go play Red Dead Redemption 2 for yourself. If you do not play,
I'll turn you into a goddamn cauliflower.